Hi, good afternoon. This is an emergency broadcast, so to speak. As you can see, I'm not in my home studio. I'm out on the road today, but I've got increasingly wound up. I even went for a walk with my daughter's dog to calm down. It didn't work. Sir Keir Starmer makes me violently sick. How dare he accuse the survivors of vicious, industrial scale child rape, sexual abuse in those northern towns, including mine, of Coventry. How dare he describe them as far right, which he did in his press conference today. After coming back from his tropical holiday, he thinks he'll have another pop. I thought he would have had the humility today to apologise and say, I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to get right on top of this now. We are going to have another inquiry tightly focused on the so-called grooming gangs, which of course is a euphemism. They are child rape gangs. But did he say that? No, he didn't. Hi, this is a live stream. You're probably watching me on Facebook or Twitter or on John Gaunt TV on YouTube. You can comment. Pip Tomlinson, he's just come through and he's saying, hello from Barcelona. Hi, John. I want the right. Don't you want the right to rip themselves apart? Because the only way to beat Labour is to stay together. I guess you're talking about the scenario with the right at the moment, UKIP and Elon Musk, etc., etc. That will all come out in the wash. What's most important now is that we focus on Starmer. We need him out. We need that man to resign. Did you see him standing there in his white shirt with his sleeves rolled up? It's his new image, isn't it? It's meant to look like Action Man. I've had action men, the old figures when we were kids in the 60s and 70s, who had more bollocks than him, and they didn't have any. That man is pathetic. He stands there as if he's waiting for somebody to pull the cord at the back of his head. I never had one of those ones. They were the posh ones. My mate Rich Keelock had one. You pull it at the back, and he speaks, but he can only say 3 or 4 things. We inherited this debt, the black hole, 24 billion or whatever it is. The man is full of bullshit. Do you agree with me? Get on the comments now. Jackie says, I just don't know what their thinking is. Jackie Ward, thank you for joining me on YouTube. Nor do I, Jackie. It's pathetic. Don't forget, I've got this YouTube channel now. It's John Gaunt TV if you want to join me. All my streams are going to be here. We're going to do proper live streams with my green screen and everything soon. But today, I'm down at my daughter's and I just had to speak. I cannot believe it. I was almost crying earlier. I saw one of the survivors, Sammy Woodhouse, interviewed her many, many years ago, and she was talking about the insult of what Sir Keir Starmer said today. What is wrong with that man? He's like an automaton. Has he got I know he's got no bollocks, but has he got no emotional hard drive? He's the father of 2 kids himself. Does he not actually ever wonder about them? By the way, if you're liking what I'm saying, press the like button as well. Lee Smith, I fully agree with you, John. Thank you very much indeed, Lee. It's great the comments are coming through because I didn't even announce I was going to do this. But I just think, looking at Sammy Woodhouse, she came on about an hour ago, no makeup, just speaking from the heart. No rehearsal, obviously, a bit like myself, but then I am an old pro, aren't I? I just can't believe what this Labour government are doing. Well, I can. They're doing it to protect their Muslim vote. That's what this is all about. It's like gerrymandering times 100. That's what they're up to. They're scared because in the general election, they lost some seats to radical Islamist candidates from radical individual parties. We've almost got religious sectarian voting in this country. It's a terrible thing, and we need to stamp on it now. But what they're doing is they're playing to it. And so Jess Phillips, who nearly lost her seat in Birmingham, won by about 600 votes. They were horrendous to her during the election, but when it came to it, she wouldn't actually moan. Why? Because she can't upset the Islamist or the Muslim vote. This is not the way our country's going to go. I believe in the same law for everyone. I don't think all Muslims are terrorists. I don't think all Muslims are maddos or terrible people. I think most of them are great, and I think they're like us. Me, a white Anglo-Saxon, Christian background, just want the best for my kids. That's what they want. But there are some Islamist extremists who hate our very way of life. Do I have to remind you about what's happening on the 20th? No, not Donald Trump being inaugurated. The fact that the man who's accused, is he a man? Is he a boy? According to the government, he was a boy. He's a man, and he's going to stand trial for the slaughter of those 3 innocents in Southport. Now, I don't know whether he's guilty or not. I want him to have a fair trial. But what I do know is that Keir Starmer and Yvette Cooper, she only ever now gets interviewed by her old man, of course, Ed Balls. Oh, by the way, she's on the telly tonight. She's in Parliament issuing a statement. It's probably they're bringing blasphemy laws to protect the Muslim Quran rather than the fact we're a Christian country. And when that MP stood up, did you see the Muslim a few weeks ago? He stood up and said, we need libel. We need blasphemy back. What he meant was to protect anyone taking the mickey out of the Quran. Well, I'm sorry. I should be able to say the Jewish religious book is rubbish. I should be able to say the Bible is rubbish, full of fairy tales, and the Quran is a load of rubbish. I remember when I was on BBC London, somebody said, John, I bought you a copy of the Quran. I said, why? My coffee table isn't uneven at the moment. I don't need it underneath one of the legs. He said, no, I think you should read it. Then you'd be more informed. I don't want to be informed. I don't believe in organised religion. I think it's the root cause of most problems. Stick your Quran where the sun don't shine. If I said that now, I'd be up on a charge. Or they'd be burning effigies of Gaunty in the street, stringing me up from a lamppost. Is that how you want to live? It's not how I want to live. And so anyway, getting back to this nonsense, these men I'm sorry, there's the trial on the 20th. Keir Starmer clearly knew either the same day or the day after what happened in Southport. He knew about the ricin. The secret services would have told him. And if they didn't, they weren't doing their job. He knew. He knew what religion this bloke was, his background. Why has he kept it? Why has there been this conspiracy of silence? And why has there been a conspiracy of silence over these rape gangs? Is it because he is Muslim? Well, we can't live like that. And then I've had some people saying to me today, you're a racist or you're just taking advantage. Let me just tell you, lot, who've all come back over from that other side. I thought you'd all left Twitter. It's too toxic. I hate Elon Musk. I'm going. Well, fuck off then. Why have you come back? You've come back today to try and put the boot in because of what Elon Musk has been saying. Listen, I'm not racist. I'm not anti-Muslim. And I'm not going to have people saying I am. I just want to look after my kids, my grandkids when they come as well. What's wrong with that? I want to live in peace and harmony. Don't you? But they've come back today to say, oh, you're just trying to make profit out of it, going to getting clicks and all this. Let me just tell you something straight so you know. I was in care. My mum died when I was 11. My dad couldn't cope. He had a breakdown. He was a horrible bastard on lots of levels anyway. But I ended up in a children's home only for a few weeks, a matter of weeks, until my auntie Rosemary rescued me and we went to live in Hull. But when I was in that children's home, I saw things that no 11, 12, 13-year-old should ever see. I experienced things I should never, ever have experienced. Nowhere near on the scale of Sammy Woodhouse and people like that. And I'm not trying to say I am, but I do empathise with them. I do sympathise with them. And I do want the bastards who did it to people like Sammy. I mean, I saw Eamon this morning, Eamon Holmes on Good Morning Britain. Good old Eamon, he put the boot in. They were talking about this guy who's not even been deported after being found guilty and serving his sentence. He's still living here, one of the leaders of the gangs up north. And basically, Eamon said, well, if he'd been executed, he wouldn't be, would he? But he said it on mainstream telly. I agree with him. Bring back the death penalty for these monsters. And indeed, child killers of all religions. Little Sarah, who got killed by her dad, tortured, murdered. 44 years he got in jail. What's the point of that? Saddam Shuffle, plug in old Sparky, hang him till he's dead. This country's just gone too woke. We're all there with our little rainbow laces in our boots, the police. They let anybody in the police anymore. When my dad joined the police, the reason we moved to Coventry was because he wasn't quite 6 foot, which is what you had to be in the whole police. Otherwise, I'd be talking like that, right? So we moved here. He could have gone to Glasgow. I'm not going to try the Glasgow accent. Anyway, so what happened was we moved to Coventry. My dad moved for work like lots of people, lots of my friends at school, my black friends, my Asian friends. They moved to improve themselves, and many of them did and have been very, very successful. And we wouldn't have a health service or the doctors in the 60s without the doctors from the Asian subcontinent. We wouldn't have done. Just like the nurses who came from Ireland in the 50s and 60s. They helped to build this country. I don't think this country is stronger with diversity. I think it is stronger with diverse population, but all working in the same direction. A bit like the England football team. I always laugh at that. So I'm going off on it. But you know what they go on about the England team? It's so marvellously diverse and that's somehow brilliant and that's why we're great. No, it's just British people, some of whom happen to be black and Asian. And the more the merrier, as far as I'm concerned. It's a bit like Death in Paradise. They've been going on about, isn't it great? He's now a black detective. Well, he's a black detective, but if you watch the story, he was born when he was a baby in the island, Guadeloupe, where it's based. But then he went to London. He's more of a bloody Londoner than I am. The colour of his skin is irrelevant. Why do these woke twats always want to push their agenda? They're the racist ones. And then I've had them today saying, oh, you don't need another inquiry. We've had one. Well, it obviously hasn't worked because it's still happening. People are still free. Girls are still being raped. Girls are still being murdered. We need and then it acts as if I don't know what I'm talking about. I've read the J report, right? It was too generalized. There wasn't much about the child sex rape gangs. That's what we need an inquiry into. Why is it happening? Why is it in this particular part of this particular culture? Why is it happening? And sort it out. There's my dog coming in. He probably wants to go out again. Do you see the door open in the background? Rick Medlock says, these idiots will take us back to the dark ages. Lee Smith says, all organized religions are used by people to abuse and take advantage of people. Rick Medlock also says, it's never dull in Hull. Very good. I've learned just now how to put the captions up on the screen. Aren't I clever? I agree we need the death sentence, John, but I think let's be humane and give them the lethal injection. We're better than them, so don't go down the aggressive death sentence route like electrocution or hanging. You're just a soft, bleeding heart liberal. Come on, Lee. And I'm pulling your leg, really. Anybody else want to comment? Feel free. Just tap in on the side of your screen if you want to say something to me today. Where else have we got? See if we've got another couple, and then I'll carry on with my rant. I'm going to finish in a minute. It's only meant to be a little short one. But if you wish to comment, that's how you do it. I don't know how to take it off the screen now. Lee, you're going to become a superstar. You're going to be on there constantly with me. I'll go back to Rick. He says it's never dull in Hull. Anyway, back to the seriousness. Keir Starmer is not fit to be our prime minister, right? This is only one of the problems he's got. He just hasn't got a clue. And he's surrounded by sixth formers, all talking about how politically right on they are. It's like being in a live version of Militant in Viz, yeah? The two women are almost identity copies. You know, Reeves, Rachel Thieves, the Chancellor. I wouldn't trust her with Diane Abbott's abacus. She can't add up. She fucked up the economy. And then there's the other one who's in charge of education, Bridget the Midget or whatever her name is. She's just almost the same. He's almost the same as Rachel Reeves. They're almost like they built them in a factory or something, probably in Wales. Ha ha ha, no liberal here, mate, says Lee Smith. Thank you for that. I just despair of what's happening. I know he's only been in for 6 months. I know he got a massive majority. I know we've had previous inquiries. But how much longer are we going to allow this cancer of a rapes and abuse to continue? Anybody who is being in one of those gangs, and that's the other thing, the liberals, the uber liberals, to prove their point, they're now putting up cases of white paedophile gangs. Well, I condemn them as well. There was one in Coventry. There was a gang in Coventry where they were actually breeding kids so they could abuse them. Those bastards should have had the Saddam shuffle too. So don't make out that I don't want them sorted out. I do. And picking on a few white gangs to say it happens in white. Oh, the worst one is, Gaunty, don't you know most abuse happens in the home and it's by their dad or their uncle? Yeah, I do know that. I was in care with many, many kids who've been sexually abused by their families. Yes? But we're talking about the rape gangs, and you're making the same mistake that the reports have made. It's too general. Let's focus for a moment just on these child rape gangs. And that's what they are. They're child rape gangs. None of this euphemism about, what do you call it? It's grooming. It doesn't make it sound what it is. Have you read the reports? I'm sorry. They were penetrating children, not just with penises, blunt instruments, but also with broken bottles. This just goes beyond anything you can think about. Anything you can think about, any horrid movie you've ever seen or book that you've read. Absolutely disgraceful. So I want to know whether you agree with me that he's got to get his finger out and get something done. Carol Howard says they were very quick to prosecute the white rape gangs. Well, I don't know about that, Carol. They certainly got him in court. I'll tell you who he was very quick at prosecution and getting into prison was the white people, and they were predominantly white, who rioted in the summer, didn't they? And, and then I'll just talk about that for a moment. The reason that a lot of them rioted was because there was an information vacuum. Not my words, the words of Lord Carlisle, the international terrorist expert. Or what about Jonathan, whatever his name is, who's the terrorism czar for Keir Starmer? He said the same thing. You have to tell people what's going on. Then it can't be that void, that vacuum can't be filled with more militant voices. Absolutely right. But why doesn't he do that? Why doesn't Starmer do that? What's his agenda? What's he hiding? I mean, it's all these things about when he was the director of public prosecutions, Jimmy Savile. I don't know the truth of that. I also don't know about whether he did enough about terrorism and about the rape gangs. He says he did. Well, let's get back then. I've said in a tweet yesterday, I got 120,000 responses to it, right? Little old me sitting in my daughter's house watching Yellowstone, just trying to, have you seen Yellowstone? Oh, man alive, it's the best TV in the world at the moment. It's on Paramount. Wouldn't be on the BBC. They're too busy congratulating themselves on that crap Gavin and Stacey. Anyway, I'll get back to my point. I've got all these people responding yesterday because I talked about what Starmer is doing. And what Starmer is doing, he's kind of decided, like he did after the riots, he said they were all far-right thugs. Well, they clearly weren't, were they? I'm not condoning what they did. But you can't call them all right-wing. You just can't. It doesn't stand up. Medlock says, good rant, John. You're right. I'm on fire. Yeah, great program, he says, talking about Yellowstone. It's just not a good program, a great program. It's just outstanding telly. There's about 8 series. If you've not seen it, get it. It costs you about £7 a month. It's the best £7 you're going to spend. Oh, apart from buying me a coffee. Don't forget, if you like what I do, to keep this going, I do have this thing called www.buymeacoffee.com. It's on the bottom of the screen at the moment. You can donate anything from £5 upwards. Basically, it helps me to get more equipment. It helps me to carry on doing it. Pays me to do it, if I'm honest. I'm going to be straight. I'm not embarrassed by it. I'm an entrepreneur. I do want to make a living. Is that wrong? Don't know if you're wondering where I've been. I had sepsis and then he died. I was ill in bed basically for a year. And then I had about a year being totally depressed. Believe it or not, I lost my confidence. I did try to do this, but I just couldn't do it. But I'm back. I got my mojo back. I've been really helped by a couple of people. Adam, who gave me the lights, which I haven't got with me today. What a fantastic man. And by everybody else donating money and encouraging me. And my mate Phil, he's really, really helped me. Helped my confidence. It's all about confidence. Life is all about confidence, isn't it? The more confidence you have, then the more successful you can get. I've got a friend who's really, really successful. Multi-millionaire. Patrick, right? Just a normal lad. Normal Irish guy. Irish extract. Worked his balls off. Now a multi-millionaire. He says the same thing. If you look successful, talk a good game, you'll get on. I think he's right. Lee Smith, if you say some hurty words to the left or their friends, then they'll have a harsh punishment. But if you molest or rape kids, you're treated with kid gloves. Excuse the pun. Starmer needs to go. He certainly has. Carol Howard says, you got to laugh when he said, I will have no politicians lying and spreading lies. He's the biggest liar going. I think you're right, Carrie. I think you're right. Who's this one here? Peter 2704, slightly late to the stream. watching at 1.5 speed to catch up. Well, I talk fast anyway, mate. So you will be left in the lay-by if you're not careful. Jackie Ward says, the old Gaunty is back with fire in his belly. You're so right. Yes, Jackie, you're joking, but you're so right. I had no confidence. Sepsis, right? We don't know enough about sepsis. That's something else that needs to be talked about. And men, we don't look after our health. This all started with an infection, an abscess. You wouldn't want to get one, which I'll tell you about another day. And I didn't do anything about it, like a typical thick bloke. Typical. Until I was with Patrick, actually, down in London doing a charity show and started to vomit. And then I started talking rubbish, according to Lisa. But mind you, she says I talk rubbish most of the time. And then next thing I know, I'm in Warwick Hospital in intensive care, being looked after by the nurses. They did a great job. I won't have anyone slag off the NHS. When you really need them, they're brilliant. And I've got to just tell you about the NHS as well. I'd never been ill. I used to say to people when I had my radio show, my radio station, if you're ill, you know what the best cure for that is? Self-employment. Get back to work, you lazy bastard, right? That's because I'd never been poorly. I'd had a broken foot or whatever, had a bit of a cold, flu, but I'd never had proper serious illness. And when I had sepsis, for a year, I just literally didn't get out of bed. And it affects you mentally. I bumped into one of our listeners in a Weatherspoons in Earlston. He came over to me and said, he's not from there. He used to come with his wife. He's from London or somewhere down south. He used to come for Coventry for weekends. I said, what did you come here for? He said, oh, it's a really interesting place full of nice people. I said, are you working for our tourist board? But anyway, he meant it. He loved the music museum and the motor museum and the rest of it. Anyway, lovely guy. And Sean, his name is, and got talking to him, and he'd had a heart attack. He'd had a heart attack, and his wife brought him back. She said she heard him go upstairs. She heard him stump his toe because she heard some bang, and then she didn't hear any swearing. So she thought, wonder what's wrong with him? He should be effing and blinding if he's hurt himself. She goes upstairs. He's dying on the floor. She brought him back twice. Then the paramedics arrived, went to Harefield, and they sorted him out. They sorted him out. But what he said to me was, Gaunt, this off his own bat, this was. He said to me, do you know what, John? Getting over the physical part of it was the easy bit. It was the mental bit. I said, I know exactly what you mean. I used to be scared to go out. Go to the toilet and you think, oh, no, I don't feel, oh, dear, no. Is it coming back? You lose your confidence. I didn't just lose my confidence. I lost all my contacts, all my jobs. I lost my house. I lost everything. I lost everything. I've been straight with everybody. Which is why I'm asking you now, if you like what I'm doing, press the like button. Make sure you start following me on YouTube, which is John Gaunt TV. That's easy to remember, isn't it? And also follow me Twitter, John at John Gaunt. It's on Twitter at the moment, I think. I hope. Is it going out on Twitter? If you're watching on Twitter, let me know. And is it also going out on Facebook? It should be out on my profile. I can't afford to have it on any more. I can only have, with this package I've got, there's only 3 places you can send it to at once. If I get a few more bob, I'll get it to more places, Instagram and all the rest of it. I'll get our Rosie or Bethany to sort it out for me. Anyway, I think I'll finish there. I just wanted to basically say Starmer is a complete and utter see you next Tuesday. And I'm fed up of him. He's got to go. Him and his sixth formers. Now, I don't interpret any of this as if I'm supporting the Conservatives. They're a bunch of lousy, corrupt, looking after each other idiots, yeah? How dare they turn around and say, why hasn't Starmer done this and done that? They had 14 fucking years to sort it out. Yeah? Sorry for swearing, but you understand what I'm talking about. Facebook, yes, says Rick Medlock. Thank you. And Sylvia's mother said it's on Twitter as well. Thank you, Sylv. Thank you very much. That's my stepmom's name, actually. She's not really my stepmom. She married my dad when I was growing up by then. Anyway, why am I telling you all this biographical detail? You can buy me book. I think you can still get it in the Age Concern bookshop in Earlston for a 5p or 10p. I get that sometimes. My trolls or the people who don't like me say, I saw your book here. It's on sale in Cancer Research, 10p. It's like, well, that's all right. At least I wrote a book. Have you written a book? No, see, they haven't done it. Have you achieved it? No. You're no mark to go. Look at you. You're rubbish. Okay, thank you. Correct, John. All is bad. All is bad what? Oh, all the politicians are the same. Yeah, you're right. So they're all the same. They're all the same. I've even got big reservations about Nigel Farage, who, don't forget, I know very, very well indeed. I'll talk about that on another podcast. So you're probably thinking, when do you do these podcasts, Gaunty? Well, I do it when I feel like it, to be honest. I'm trying to get it up to 3 to 5 a week. This week, when did I do one? I did one yesterday, didn't I? I did one Saturday or Friday, and I've done this one today. This is a bonus. And I'll probably do one. Now that it's worked okay, I'll do it again. I mean, it's not quite up to my high professional standards, but I've never been that bothered about that, whether you're on local radio or your national radio or on TV, because I think it's all about content. It's all about content, isn't it? And I know that I'm good at what I do. I don't care if you think that's big-headed. It's not. Big-headed is saying things that you can't back up. It's arrogant. I'm arrogant. I know I'm good, right? And I'm so glad that I've got my mojo back. And I'm down to you lot. Thanks a lot. Robbie Wright, good friend of mine, says, it's a great read too, John. That's my book. Available in all charities. What's it called? Undaunted. It's available in all good bookshops. It's charity shops. And then the second one, this is Great Britain, Not Rubbish Britain. That's your shit book. I wouldn't bother looking. I wouldn't even pay 5 pence myself for that. That was written at the height of my stupidity. Because that's another thing I'll talk to you about another time. When you suddenly make loads of cash and like everything you touch turns to gold, you get the Midas touch. It ain't very good, really, for your mental health. I think I became a bit of a prat, if I'm honest with you. And one of the best things, it's not the best thing. One of the best things about losing everything and nearly losing your life, I guess, is that you learn a bit of humility, and it's kind of humbling and all the rest of it. That said, I still like to have the Jaguar, and I'd still like to not be looking down the back of the settee for pennies to see if I can go for a pint on Friday with you, Rob, because that's what I'll be doing, right? So it's kind of, I'd rather have loads of money and we go to the Caribbean and drive in the Jag, but, maybe it'll come back one day, maybe. I'm just going to do my job. I'm just going to do what I want. And people are saying, are you trying to get back on mainstream radio? No, absolutely not. It's rubbish. There's nobody on mainstream radio, talk sort of radio, that genre, not necessarily the station, who I think, bloody hell, he's good. I wish I was as good as him. Now, I used to think that when I was learning and when my craft and getting better. I used to listen to people like Danny Baker and think, God, he's a genius. Then I worked with him. And I still liked him a lot, but I don't think he's a genius now. But there's nobody now who does it. People talk about, oh, what about Mike Graham? I taught him everything he knew. He wasn't fit to wipe the spit off my microphone. But good luck to him. He's making a living. Good luck to him. Alan Brazil. I tell you what, I won't have anybody saying anything nasty about Alan Brazil, because to be good at two things in your professional life is brilliant. And he was a brilliant drinker and quite a good broadcaster. I'm joking. Football, just before I go, to upset all the Coventry fans. When are we going to sack Frankie Lampard? We don't want him. He's useless. And when are we going to get rid of our chairman? Well, I think I've probably upset enough people now. Lady of the Manor. Good morning, Your Majesty. She says, I'm sick of this country. It's unrecognisable. You're right. One of the reasons I like coming to my daughter is she lives in this lovely village in Oxfordshire. It's not like a chocolate box sort of village, but it's a bit like Morse. It's a bit like going back to the late 50s or 60s. Everybody says hello to you. When I go out walking, they're all, hello, 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 hello. And it's just lovely. People are just nice. Sylv says, is Lampard still there? Yeah, he is at the moment, but hopefully not for much longer, Sylv. But it's, so it's a bit like this. Living here, I'm here most of the week this week. It's just like turning the clock back. I just want to live in peace and harmony. That's a song, isn't it? I just want to get on with people. Have a good drink at the weekend. Bottle of wine in the week, maybe. I don't know. Why can't we be like that? Go for a curry. Why can't we be like that? I remember when the first black kids came to our school, Hill Farm in Radford. Mickey Robinson, great runner. Intelligent bloke as well. Then when I went to Blue Coat, people like Selwyn and stuff, what a rugby player he was. And we all just got on. I mean, maybe it was different for them because they did have a different colour skin. I don't know. But it didn't feel like that race or colour dominated everything. No one was a punk rocker. Loads of people were gay. There was a tranny. Are you allowed to use that word anymore? Anyway, a bloke who had hands like shovels, but he wore a frock. And he used to go in the Rose and Crown, and then he used to go up the Locarno or Tiffany's, whatever. He was there when the Clash played. White Riot, the White Riot tour. Were you there? That was some gig, that was. Oh, don't tell me. I don't know, but I did see the Pistols at George's, bollocks. If everybody says they saw the Pistols at George's was actually there, they'd have had to extend it. It's an absolute joke. But anyway, say he was trans. No one cared. No one cared. Some people made a few jokes about it, but there wasn't any malice. This country is the laughing stock of the world, says Jackie. It's not that funny. And Robbie says, I agree with the lady of the manor. Is that your message, Rob? Is that why you're saying that? It might well be. I don't know. Anyway, well, I've had enough. I've done it. All I'm going to say is Starmer is an absolute disgrace. He needs removing. If you'd like this video, could you share it now on social media? Just forward it to all your mates. And don't forget to like it. It's really important you like it and you comment on it. Please do that. That builds my numbers. Building my numbers gets the algorithm working. I got my first check ever. Well, I haven't got the check yet, but I got the notification. I've earned some money on Twitter. I think it's $20. And the way that Starmer's running, or Rachel Reeves running the country, that's about 2 bob and a conker. But from small acorns, did you see what I did there? From small acorns, mixing my metaphors, great oaks will grow. And I'll be in the oak on Friday, Robbie, as you're around. Sick boy. Anyway, so that's me finished. That's not bad. For my first ever live stream with no notification, 245 people are watching at this very moment. Thank you. That's because we're all unemployed, or we're all pensioners, or we're all on the scrappy. I don't know, maybe it isn't, because it's a weird time of day to do it. 15:59. I'm off because I want to watch Yvette Cooper in Parliament, but I will be back sometime soon. Tell all your friends, Gaunty is back. There's a load of claps coming in now from Sylv. Sylv's giving me the claps. Thank you for that. The most important thing to say, of course, as you know, with the Gaunty broadcast is, if you've got kids, give them a kiss, give them a hug. Don't forget to tell them you love them. And if you're a paedophile, plug the chair in. Let's get rid of these scum. Agree with me? Let me know. Get in touch via YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, or send me an email, john@johngaunt.com. See you later. Bye.